So what I was going to say is I made myself a margarita in a jargarita.
Makes your eyes itchy?
Well, and then I put salt on it with my
Okay.
hands, and then I had
Uh-huh.
itch my eye, and then I just put
Oh.
salt in my eye, which is why I
Oh.
keep touching my eye because it's all ouchy because I put salt in it.
What a what a time to decide to record.
Well, I thought that'd be a funny anecdote to open on.
Hey, I just maced myself. Welcome to RF Fitness Podcast.
Welcome to the RF. I should probably open that up
Yeah, here we
so I
go.
know the things to say. Here we go, guys. It's been a while.
Here we
Rachel, fill
go.
time, fill time, fill time.
Oh, fill time. I thought you said full time. I was like, full
Fill,
time what?
fill time, baby.
Fill time. I'm gonna sing you a song. It's called Rob's Got Salt in His Eyes. He maced himself. It's like pepper spray, but it's salt instead,
Welcome back
which hurts.
to the RF Fitness Podcast, brought to you by rffitness.net, your source for online coaching built for and by busy grown-ups just like you who are on the quest for health and strength in everyday life. I am your host, Rob Finlayson, certified older brother fitness coach and salty eye guy.
Salty eye guy.
And I'm here for once with my co-host.
Heyo, co-hosting, Rachael Hammerwood, certified younger sister, and I was gonna say allergy sufferer, because the cottonwood is crazy, but my dermatologist was just like, I think you should be on 2 Zizal a night.
Damn.
Which apparently you can take up to 4.
I don't know what Zizal is, but that sounds like a lot.
Okay, whatever. It's the step up from Zyrtec. So apparently, this is not a common knowledge thing. So all you ableists over here without allergies.
You speaking to me now, or
you have allergies?
I have allergies.
So in case you don't know, the hierarchy, and this is not like opinion, this is actual like first gen, I don't know, like sort of antihistamines. So lowest on the totem pole, Claritin. If you have the allergies of a bebe, you can take that. Next is Allegra, which is nice. It's the non-drowsiest out of all of them. Still middle of the road. Then Zyrtec for all us homies with actual adult allergies. And then
you opened this bit by calling our listeners ableist, but I feel like you are now gatekeeping allergies.
Okay, yeah, kind of. Then Zyrtec, and then above that, so it's all based off of this one like Instagram reel that I watched, but then I looked into it and I guess it's for real. And this guy was just like, here's the hierarchy, which I've already known for a while, but he was like, here's the hierarchy of antihistamines, and he's just like, and Zyrtec's at the top. He was talking about for your kids, and he's like, but if you love your kids a little more than everyone else, do Zizal. And I was like, "Ooh, that's me."
You love your kid more than the average parent. Is this the nerd with the bow tie, the histamine guy, the allergy
No,
doctor?
actually, it's a different guy.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was looking into Zizal. It's in the same family as Zyrtec, but apparently it helps a little more with itchy eyes.
That's a thing I struggle with.
Yeah, so
can I make a hot take about the internet real quick?
Yeah.
Can I be honest and speak my truth? And I want to talk about my latent ableism bias here a little bit, especially on social media, on the internet. If someone claims to be a medical professional on the internet, and I say claims to be because there's no way for us to actually verify if anyone is or not.
I mean, you can probably look up their license.
I guess, yeah, maybe. But I know one can, whatever. But if someone is on the internet saying, I am a allergen specialist, if they're hot, I trust them less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what
is
I'm
that
saying?
why I trust Dr. Beachgum or whatever a lot?
I don't know who that is.
What? She's like the most popular pediatric ER nurse, or not nurse, doctor.
That's not my algo. So I don't
You've
see that.
Definitely seen her videos, trust me.
I've probably seen her videos.
Yeah.
Dr. Beachgum. But yeah, so I'm sorry. If you're hot enough to be an Instagram influencer, medical influencer, I don't think you were ugly enough to try hard in school.
That is a pretty
Is that weird?
hot take,
Is that a
my
hot take?
friend.
I feel like it's like, okay, so there's like this conspiracy theory. I don't know if it's true or not.
Is it only for social media?
It's
What if you see a
definitely
hot doctor in real
in
life?
real life. No, it's not so much a thing, but it's definitely a social media thing, or like a regular media for sure. Like you remember like the show The Doctors? There was like a spinoff episode of
Oh,
Doctor
yeah.
Oz.
Yep.
Doctor Oz,
I mean, two of those guys were V average looking. Dr. Oz is below average looking.
Dr. Oz is below average, but it was a legitimately brilliant cardiologist who just sold his soul for a quick buck, which sucks. Dr. Phil, I'm not sure if he's actually qualified. Also looks like a toe, so
I don't think he's a doctor.
I don't think he's a doctor at all. I think he was a guest host. Listeners, we don't have a script for this episode. We don't have a
Believe
theme.
it or not. Because, I mean, which is shocking, though, because when we do have a script, we follow it to the T.
We're so tight on those episodes, you guys. Tight like a tiger. But we wanted to have Rachael on because it's been forever. It's been like over a month.
Yeah.
Right? Since you've been on. A lot's happened. You know, we want to do a little life catch-up update here. Obviously, Rachael.
Little life up.
You and I know what's going on in each other's lives, down to every granular detail.
Yeah, I know what you had for breakfast this morning.
I know, and it made me poop a whole lot.
I knew that too.
Here's the thing. I had a lot of fiber last night and this morning in my meals, and boy howdy, my GI let me know, hey bud, you're not prepped for this much fiber in like a 10-hour period while I was at work today. Hey bud.
Have you seen the trend of little sisters texting their older brothers, which now I can't do this to you, but just like incredibly random updates about their day. They're like, they just text them and they say like, headed to the store.
I mean, you could do that.
It's so funny.
And the brothers are like, I don't care, or what?
Yes, and they're like, okay. And they're like, I think I might get some new sunglasses. And they're like, I don't, sure. And then they're like, do you think I should get like chocolate or vanilla ice cream? And they're like, stop fucking texting me.
Is someone dying or not? Why are you talking to me?
But also, I think it's so different because it's just like, I don't know. If it was sisters, they'd be like, ooh, what are you going to get? Ooh, send me a picture.
If I texted you, should I get chocolate or vanilla ice cream? Would you have a more like invested response than if you had texted me? I mean, yeah, probably. Let's be real.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
it's just because girls are better.
Maybe at texting. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on in the past 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah,
since
right.
Last time we were on the show here.
Well, I'm still fat, but no real updates there.
All right, this has been the Fitness Podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. But we got plenty more show, guys. We got plenty more show. Don't worry.
Yeah, chill.
That's very funny.
Thank you. I signed Linnea up for outdoor preschool, and I am over the moon excited for so many reasons.
Or is that next?
No. Yeah, it starts in the fall. Yeah, for people that maybe don't have kids or like don't know, preschool normally, at least in my experience, runs concurrent with just like the regular school year. So a lot of people have like, I don't know, had questions about it. But yeah, so it runs from September to May, like late May or something like that. But it is at the same elementary school that I went to.
We went to.
Wild. And then they are partnering with the Wargo Nature Center, which is the nature center that we grew up going to.
Like basically grew up at. I fucking love that place so much.
I love Wargo.
I applied for a job there actually this summer, and they said no, thank you.
What?
Yeah, it was for something. I think it was for a position that I frankly think I would have been qualified for, but I have literally zero actual work experience in the field, so I don't blame them for picking someone else. Honestly, they probably hired internally and just had to post the job.
Fair
So,
enough.
whatever.
Yeah, there's a teacher there that we took some like random like weekday 1 hour classes with or whatever,
Mhm.
and he is incredible. And like I was already pretty excited about the outdoor thing, and then he said he was teaching it, and I was just like, whatever I can do to get more John. This guy's amazing.
We love John.
We stand John.
Wow. Okay, standing is a big step.
I'm doing it. I am standing John.
Okay.
He has this like adorable little welcome song. He is super good at keeping Linnea in check, like
Mm,
quickly, respectfully, and effectively.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I am just super excited. It is 4 days a week, which is a huge jump because it's I'm not there. To go from a stay-at-home mom kid to, so like when I work, mom watches her. So
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever been babysat. Yeah, she's never been babysat by anybody that's not family.
Sure. Well, this isn't babysitting. This is school.
Well, right.
Yeah. So I
But
make
yeah,
that
so
delineation for our educators in the audience.
yes. So it's a big old jump, but I think we will both benefit from it.
Oh, yeah.
Twice a week they go to Wargo, and the parents are expected to be in the field with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a 2.5 hour class. Half the class you're out there with them, and then half the class is a parent discussion. So pretty cool stuff, and I'm just so fucking excited.
Wait, so you're like on the hook for the whole time she's there? You don't just like drop her off and dip out?
Twice a month.
Just a month. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Only the days at Wargo.
Oh, okay. I was just saying it's twice a week. I was like, bro, that's like you're there all the time.
No,
What are you doing?
yeah, I know. I don't know. The other preschool that we were originally signed up for
Hmm.
with the same school, we were going to do 3 days a week. And one of the days it's expected that the parents are there for half the class and then half of it discussion. And that's once a week. And I was just like, that's kind of a lot.
It's kind of a lot. The whole point of this is that I'm
Yeah,
not
right?
there. Is it that I'm
But
not
like,
there?
don't get it twisted. Your bitch loves parent discussion. Um,
Sure.
I mean, that's all I want to do is discuss with parents. Um,
Should have a podcast about it.
yeah, God,
If only.
jeepers. Um, but and speaking of ECFE, so our ECFE ended, but our class was meeting Thursdays, um, like late afternoon sort of thing, and we're like, yo, if you obviously have that free time, then like let's continue the party. And I wanted to do it last year, but this class is more DTH, and so we or DTP, um, we down to play.
Ah.
Um, so now we're getting together, and we have every single Thursday.
Wow. Very cool.
And we plan to every Thursday for like the whole summer.
Hell
And a
yeah,
bunch
dude.
of us are in like the same classes throughout um, the same like school system.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Also, Linnea moved into a big girl bed, not like a toddler bed, but a full-on full-size bed.
We jump. This is a big
Um,
jump for her. She went from crib to bed, right?
yes.
Yeah.
There was nothing in between. Um,
Just like there's
most,
nothing
I don't
between
know.
her and the floor.
Yeah, well, yeah, she fell out of bed. Of course, the one night that I wasn't here, had a sleepover, and she had to fall out of bed.
Bungee jumped on out of bed. Olivia fell out of bed, I think, exactly one time when we switched to. Was it toddler bed? No, it would probably have been big girl bed because the toddler bed still had like a half a gate thing on it.
Rail, yeah,
Yeah, half a rail. But yeah, she fell
yeah,
out one time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't have a box spring on it or whatever, but it's just
Mhm.
like it's a real bed, so it's
Yeah.
raised, and so that was, I wasn't even here, but a bit scary, and so literally Eric texted me at I don't know midnight or something and said, she fell out of bed, and I was instantly like looking up. I I didn't want like a railing thing like they normally put them on there, just because then I can't
Mhm.
climb into bed with her
Mm.
very well. So I ended up getting bumpers, and then I am also obsessed with Facebook Marketplace. I found Marketplace bumpers that were on the way home from Jake's house,
Nice.
where I was sleeping over. Jake is gay, settle down, and
Mo was also there. A bunch of other people were there.
not that night.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I'm just constantly sleeping over at Jake's house. It's a super nice house. You're lucky to sleep over there. I told him, I was like, this is like a rich parent's house.
Yes. It's very funny.
I mean, it's almost like two well-off gay men live there.
Wow, imagine that. Mo did tell me it's a very nice house. She was regaling me with tales of like I just like looked out while I drank my coffee in the morning. It was amazing. It's like, wow, this is incredible. I was like, yeah, that sounds really wealthy.
Yeah, yeah,
Sounds must be nice.
must be nice indeed.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I put the bumpers in there. Ever since the bumpers, there's been zero incidents.
good.
Um, and we are kind of dropping nap, kind of not.
Oh, we're still kind of in
Um,
between on that.
Now we're still where we went a little back because there was
Mm-hmm.
a very scary incident that happened on Memorial Day at
Oh,
Mom's house where she was just to the extremes of overtired and
mm.
over like just completely out of her mind, and then almost ran onto the curve of Black Duck.
Jesus, dude.
Um, yeah. So
The
she apparently has
WTF?
a, yeah, which talking to Missy, um, LOL to not bring up Missy. Um, we also had a little bit of a conversation that I may be a bit codependent on Missy.
Oh, you had this
um,
conversation with Missy?
Missy,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, no, Missy was just like, God, her fight flight response is so fucking strong,
Mm.
and it really shouldn't be. Um, like she
Well, it
has
shouldn't be.
she has like the fight flight response of a kid with like severe trauma.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and she doesn't. At least we don't think she does, but we're gonna find out in like 2 weeks.
This kid is
Because
a
we're
trauma.
honestly,
She brings it. Yeah.
um, we're doing a like a play therapy, intensive play therapy
Yeah.
thing in 2 weeks where these expert play therapists watch her do play therapy with a therapist in training, and they're like in her ear and tell her what to do, and it's
Mm.
free, and I'm super excited.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Love free therapy.
free therapy. Yeah, apparently she said 100% of the kids work through something, no matter what it is,
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
they always start with the oldest trauma and then end with the newest.
Huh.
So she says a bunch of kids work through their birth trauma.
That's so wild.
It is wild, and it sounds like BS, but there's a difference between cognitive memory and cellular memory.
Mm.
Um, and there are things that your body remembers that your brain does not.
Huh. So there's no like energy healing going on.
No crystals.
No crystals. Well, then how is it even? How do you know it
Then
works?
I doubt it works.
Then
No
I don't know.
incense.
You don't even use a single amethyst.
No lavender oil.
What are we doing? Pseudoscience. Bunko.
Yeah, no, the woman that I was talking to for intake was saying she was like at the playground with her kid, and
Mm-hmm.
there was this other kid that had a stuffy, and he was like shoving it through this like hole on the playground, something, and he was just like transfixed on it, and he was just like, and he was like, I can't fit, ouch, bah. And it was just like working on, or like, I don't know, that was his thing. And then
Yeah.
the chick had never met this child before, and she went up to the parents and said, I know this sounds crazy, but can I ask if your child suffered any birth trauma? And
It's a
they said
wildly
yes.
invasive conversational opener.
I don't know, man, I guess. And they're like, what the fuck? Yes, because that's them working out, like getting through the birth canal.
Wow.
And apparently, a lot of kids are calmed by like this pressure. Like you put your palm on their forehead,
Mm-hmm.
and they like push up against it.
No.
a lot of kids do it to calm themselves, and then they always like kind of push up like they do when they're being birthed.
Huh.
And it's like their body coping with their birth trauma.
Huh.
Nuts.
Interesting. That is nuts, man. That legitimately blows my mind. Like I have
Yeah.
no, like I've got nothing for that. That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. It makes me wonder because like Linnea was an emergency C-section, but like so like Exit was pretty dope.
Yeah.
But right before Exit was
significantly
not a
less than
vibe.
I mean, you were super stressed, man. Who knows what's going on for her, I guess, you know?
She was super stressed. That's the reason why they had to get her out.
Oh, okay. Who knows? I don't know, maybe a bunch of fucking doctors, Rob. How about some experts? They're not even on TV.
They're like, she's not even responding to the rose quartz. We have to get her out.
We put the obelisk in the room and there's salt everywhere and nothing's happening. We need to have a medical intervention. You don't understand. Get the tarot cards.
Get the Okay, so what up with Olivia?
Olivia's last day of kindergarten was yesterday.
Wait, quick question. Does Olivia love washing her hands with cold water?
I don't think she loves washing her hands, period.
Okay, fair enough. Linnea cannot stop talking about that she only wants cold water because that's how Olivia likes to wash her hands. I don't know. I've turned it on like tepid like I normally do, and she's like, it's way too hot, I need it cold. Olivia likes it cold.
Olivia doesn't register temperatures as far as we can tell.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think one time ever, maybe twice ever in her life, she said a bath is too hot.
That's crazy.
One time ever, she said it was too cold. This kid is
the least sensitive child.
She has never been cold. The only time, and Mo and I said, like, if this kid says she's cold, she has the flu. And that has been 100%. It's been a one. Yeah. We're batting 1,000. If this kid says or acts chilly, she has the flu. She has a fever.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what her deal is, man. So yeah,
she
doesn't register cold. But yeah, her last day of kindergarten was yesterday. We had an excellent year at a great school. Anyways, she had a wonderful teacher. It's such a good experience, you know. Like
Can Mo pick the teacher?
So apparently, she only really gets like any sway at all on kindergarten. I guess beyond after that, the teacher, like the outgoing teachers, the kindergarten teachers, sort of like confab with the incoming first grade teachers, and they sort of like they have like these charts, I guess. I don't know. Mo would be able to tell you.
Interesting. And they like match kids.
So every kid has like an energy score, which sounds like a Pokemon thing, but it's like real, like right.
It's like there's 5 hit points.
There's like a 1 through 5 scale. I want to say of like an energy score, like how much energy it just takes to just like deal with this kid. And
do the parents know this?
They do now. And I guess like the idea is that like every teacher has sort of like about an average of like total, like, you know, like
okay, so you're not going to have like a bunch of 5s in your room.
Is the idea, right? Or like if you have like these 3,
it's such a good idea.
Really hardcore kids,
charter school thing.
You also have a bunch of like low energy, like low need children here, or whose needs are easier to meet, right? Or require fewer interventions. And so I don't know what Olivia's score or whatever would be, you know. How
do you not know? I would want to know.
I was gonna say I'm not certain it's the kind of thing I want to know either. Like I just know.
I want to know.
I want to know my kid. It doesn't affect my life in any way, really.
I want to know.
I don't know.
Now I want to send my kid there just so she gets scored.
You can just give her points if you want to. Just make her a Pokemon.
5 out of 5 needy.
But yeah, so like Mo doesn't have any sway on her first grade teacher, but her kindergarten teacher will.
Huh.
Be like, I would recommend, like, you know, when they're talking about who goes into what class, her kindy teacher could be like, I think she should go with this class with these kids with this teacher because their energies are like this and that.
Right.
And then every other kindergarten teacher will be doing the same thing at the same time. So it's sort of just we have to wait and see how it shakes out. There's a whole system. It takes a very long time. It's
Mm.
very involved, and they're all very good at it because everyone cares a lot. It's only difficult because they
Yeah,
care so
right.
much,
Right.
which is what I like about this school so much.
Huh.
And Olivia's development over the course of the year has been staggering. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Like
I was telling my friend about it.
yeah, I went to the curriculum night very early on in the year, and we sat down in the room, and the teacher kind of tells all the parents about like what's like here's what to look forward to in the year, like here's what's going to happen. And this was in like early September, I want to say, and she said like, yeah, by the end of the year, the kids will be able to read and write. And I was like, no fucking way, dude. And she can
That's
read like pages at a time of book. She like really tries, you know.
yeah.
It takes effort, and she can do it.
Right. Right.
She's not reading like paragraphs or something like that, but she can like identify beginnings and ends of sentences and like
Mm-hmm.
read a whole
More
page
than
like
just like sight words.
100%. She's like cognizant of what's going on here, dude. She can write stuff that makes sense and is mostly correctly spelled with correct punctuation. Um, like I think I was telling you the other day that Mo and I were just like hanging out in the living room together, and Olivia was just drawing, and she made a sign, like a picket line sign,
Yeah.
and it said like, it was like, why no pets in school? Let dogs into school, or something like that. Or like let
We
dogs
love
be
to
in
see it,
class.
Olivia.
We love to see it, but like it's like a wealth. It's a cohesive thought that she
Mm-hmm.
wrote down in a cohesive way. Like I can read it and know what it says, and there's
Yeah,
correct
that's
punctuation. There's like a period and a comma in there,
nuts.
dude. It's nuts.
And a comma?
I want to say. It's somewhere upstairs. I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, I believe so.
Dude, commas are big flexes.
And she made like a little sign out of paper. She like rolled up a tube of paper and taped it to the back of this sheet so she could hold it.
That's so cute.
So funny, dude. I love this kid so much. And like her math skills are fucking incredible right now. Like there's many sticking points throughout the year of like she's stuck on this certain principle is like beyond her right now. Or she's like we need to practice a little bit more flashcards here, like practice her handwriting, like how she grips a pencil here and there,
Mm.
and like it's all paid off so much. Like she's like I've always known she's
She
a smart kid, but I'm like surprised at how academically
right.
intelligent she is at the end of this
Well,
year.
I mean, yeah. Ge- genetics.
She's my
Uh
kid, so I'm surprised. But she's Mo's kid, so I'm not
that
surprised.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
I do kind of wonder though, not to like take credit away from Olivia's hard work by any means, but I do wonder like the kids that don't have teachers as parents if they have as much
Right.
growth.
I don't know.
Um, yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah,
But I
she
mean, chances are, if you're going to a charter school, you're more invested in your child's education
you're
than
generally going to be pretty invested in your kid's education. Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's kind of the
yeah,
whole idea, especially at this particular charter school,
right.
whose charter is based on classical education and academic rigor. Like the idea is you send your kid here to be good at school.
Hmm.
That's what they do here. Like there's other charter schools for like athletics or theater
What?
or art, stuff like that.
Are
Yeah, I
you
mean,
sure? Athletics?
I know someone who sends their kids to an athletics charter school where they focus on athletic development and sport development. I don't know. I don't know.
That's
Their kid is on the esports team. Their
stupid.
kid is on the esports
Like
team.
electronic?
Like electronic, like competitive video games.
Say less.
Not every charter school lasts a long time.
Hopefully not that one.
Many of them are poorly rated.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah,
Ours
I'm.
is not. Ours is a
Yeah, it's always
yeah,
so highly rated, dude.
yeah.
Now that I've like been really getting into searching
Mm-hmm.
for schools, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's Mo works there. That alone
right,
should tell
right, right,
you
right, 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 right.
how
Yeah, the one
incredible.
that I'm looking at is in Forest Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so wild that it's in Forest Lake
Because it's good.
because it's really good.
Sorry, Forest Lake.
I mean,
Ooh.
it's a they do Spanish and Mandarin immersion.
Damn.
Um, yeah.
Like at the same
And
time?
no.
That will get very confusing. Monday, Tuesday,
Yes.
Wednesday is Spanish. Thursday,
Could you imagine like AB days? I would get fucked up just to know if I don't have recess or gym or something. God.
I don't have gimnasio.
Exactly. But
And
oh my
whatever
god,
it is in Chinese.
I was looking at their fucking extracurriculars because everyone's complaint, not everyone's, but the biggest
Mhm.
complaint I feel like of charter schools is there's not enough extracurrics.
Right.
And this could not be any more just on brand for extracurrics. It was like
Yeah.
they had archery and badminton, and I'm like, you guys, don't do that.
Exceedingly. Yeah, don't. No.
Don't make it even weirder.
It's one of those things. Archery's pretty cool. I don't know, man. I
I
think
mean,
archery's right.
archery is of yeah. I mean, I think the stuff that they have is super cool.
But like we think it's
And
cool, the kids might not.
yeah, I mean, but chances are, if you're going to that school, you're going to
Do
I
badminton,
don't know do badminton. Yeah.
obviously.
And I don't know. I think like everybody plays soccer, like kind of
Yeah.
thing, and like I was talking to a neighbor at mom's house that she has her kids in Circus Juventus, which is
Oh, really?
where Neil went. Um,
Yeah.
and I've already been looking into it, but um,
Mm-hmm.
got really good reviews from that parent and said
Okay.
it is absolutely incredible.
Red.
And I just think it would be so much cooler to have her know like trapeze than softball.
Yeah.
You know.
I think there's a
But
plus and a minus to both things. Like on one end, like doing like trapeze or archery or badminton is obviously very like it's very different. It's very individual. Like you
yeah,
don't meet many
right,
people who do it, especially like that's like their sport when they're a
right,
kid. Is
right.
trapeze or circus arts. So that makes someone very like interesting, but for that person, individual, for that child, outside of that sphere of that school, every other kid doesn't know what the fuck that is. Every other kid plays football or soccer or hockey, like maybe lacrosse or wrestling or something. Like it can be
Right.
difficult to like. So something I've considered a lot about extracurriculars is that it's the reason I think it's seen as such a like a resume builder is because a lot of these activities build community.
Yes.
And it's
But the community
something
is the activity that you're doing. You would have
right.
community in the circus.
But if you go outside, if you're looking for a job or a college application, you go to college or you go to your job site or whatever, how many other people can you talk to? Oh, yeah, so my universal
Yeah.
experience I had as a child circus performer. And people are like, you were a clown? What?
Right.
Versus like, oh yeah, I also played football and we played this team and they're like, I also played that team. It was fun for X, Y, and Z reason. Like I also have this extremely boring American experience where I played a
Yeah, I
team
don't
ball
know.
sport.
I'm gonna put my kid in circus so she doesn't need to
I'm just
have
saying that's why, you know,
small talk
because
conversations on the job site.
it's those conversations that lead to big things. It's all about networking, you know. It's all about
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
I mean, but I've been talking to parents about it, which is who was I talking about to? I can't remember, but I was just like, yeah, oh yeah, it was my massage therapist. Uh
okay.
and I was just like, I don't know if she's gonna go to college. I think it might,
Mm-hmm.
she might like go to a trade school or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. And she
Yeah.
was just like, okay, yeah, how old is she? And I said, she just turned 3. And then she just like was like, what? She literally said like, what the fuck, girl? Like,
Ha 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 ha. Thinking she's like 15, 16 or something like that.
yeah,
Maybe. Yeah, like and within a decade of having to make that
she's a
choice,
she's a fresh 3.
pretty fresh three.
Yeah.
We like to plan ahead.
But so what I've been talking about with some other parents is like to not know. I think it's important to. Oh, is your dog whining?
There's a lot of condensation on my poster, so I'm trying to whip it off a little bit. There's coasters, by the way, that Mo had made for us several years ago. It's pictures of us.
Those are pretty cute.
It's mega cute.
Um, I think it's important for your kids to try a variety of activities to find out what they like.
Oh, yeah.
But at what point? Like, I was just like, how do you know if your kid isn't a shot put prodigy? Like,
Right.
how do you know if your kid isn't going to be an Olympic power walker?
It's a thing. It's a sport.
And it's a thing, it's a sport, and it's just like, how do these people get into these obscure sports? How do they, like, how are they I don't know, man. But also it's just like, if you, there's like this like sports camp that they have for preschoolers, which I think is hilarious. But and each day it's like, you know, one day's basketball, one day's soccer, one day's t-ball or whatever. But it's just like, you're never going to know if they're actually good if they just try it for like an hour and a half.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I
but
think
it's just like,
that, especially at that age, it's less about are they good or they're naturally talented to do they
well,
enjoy it.
yes,
That's
I
the most important
agree.
part.
But once you're past the enjoyment level, what if she's the next Michelle Kwan and we'll never know because I have ice skating trauma?
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know, but I don't want that kid to ice skate because I want her to keep her fingers.
You know, I think it was the poet Jadakiss who said, "Why the guy on the north side not get the opportunity that Jordan did, even though he's just as talented?"
Absolutely.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but I mean, there's another actual quote about something like how many Einsteins never got to write physics because they like died in the mines. You know, like how many brilliant children didn't get the opportunity to do X, Y, Z because we'll never know. And I think it kind of that sort of anxiety I think a lot of parents have really rolls into this issue that we see with a lot of, especially like I want to say like millennial parents and Gen X parents. I feel like this is pretty common. Like you really concerned with like optimizing your child, like optimizing them. You know, like you obviously like it's coming from a place of like I want to make sure that they're the best possible.
Yes, that's what it is.
I want them to be set up for success, and I think what that turns into, it's very easy to lose sight of like what your actual end game is. And the focus then becomes like optimizing, like she has to be the best at students, she has to be the best at circus, she has to be the best, and we have to try all these things, and we have to only do the things she's really good at, so that she has these opportunities and she can pursue them, you know, like everything else be damned. And it's really because being a parent is hard when you care a lot, because you care a lot, and that makes it, you know, you have to make all these choices and decisions. And I'm in the middle of doing a home study course for part of my job, where I'm getting a certification in youth sports and conditioning. And I'm like not even halfway through the course yet. And a lot of what the textbook is talking about is like kids should be having fun. If the kids aren't having fun in their sport, you're doing it wrong. And like
which is also kind of hard because, like, you know, like Olivia hated dance, so you let her give up.
We let her give up karate, to my great chagrin.
I was just looking into like jujitsu and stuff. Did you hear about that 13-year-old girl that broke the ankle of this man that tried to attack her?
You mean that Instagram reel that mom sent to the chat that you and I are in? Yes, I did hear about that.
All right, cool.
It did also come across my algo like a week ago.
Yeah, it algoed on me.
It algoed all over me, dude. That is pretty rad. Also,
but I'm like, I mean, that would be so cool for her to learn. What is she supposed to do? Badminton a guy away? Like,
I can serve. Stand back, you know.
I'm the next Michelle Kwan.
Think of badminton.
Whenever Gunther goes slipping around the floors without his fucking rug runners that he has to be on. Then I always tell you he goes into Michelle Kwan mode.
Olympic ice skater Gunther.
Just quanning all over the floor.
Just quanning all over. I wonder what she's up
Title.
to these days.
Probably skating.
I bet she's coaching right now. I mean, how old is she?
I mean, yeah. I'm gonna say Michelle Kwan is 44.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say
You have to guess.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say she's 49.
Okay.
She was born in 1980. She is 44 years old.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
What do I win?
Michelle Kwan is a retired American competitive figure skater and diplomat who served as United States ambassador to Belize from 2022 to 2025.
That's what she's doing.
I guess. Sorry, Michelle. Not to disparage your career. That's just not what I would have expected, I guess. Yeah. Belize of all places. I was under the impression she was Chinese American, and that
right.
So China would have made more sense to me. But maybe I'm just being racist. It's the racismo.
Hey, you know what we haven't talked about is mom moving.
So mom's moving.
Mom's moving.
She has sold our childhood home. And is moving to a glorious townhome, which Google Maps says is a large house on the lake.
Dude, when I looked at that house, I was like, hell yeah. I'm very confused because this is not a townhouse. I was just like,
I did something wrong. This isn't right.
No, I looked it up and I said, oh, this is awesome.
I was like, there's no things she said there would be here at this house on a lake.
I just concentrated on how nice it was.
You gotta ask questions.
And then she was just like, no, look it up here. I was like,
oh.
Still's got a pool. That's all I care about.
It's got a pool. So
we're gonna be swimming
all
day, every day.
Last weekend, you and I think earlier today, more this week, you have been back to the house.
Yes.
To walk through. We got our chance to walk through and be sad in every room we wanted to.
I didn't.
Of the house. I also did not. It seemed like that's sort of what Mom wanted us to do. I'm not sure. She said, come through and like. I think the idea of the message seemed like come through and like say goodbye to the house. I was at your house on Saturday, I think it was, like moving rocks around. You're like, do you feel sad about Mom's out of the house? And I was like, no. You're like, yeah, me neither.
God. I was talking to the neighbor, Mom's next door neighbor, and I said, so the person that ended up buying it is a friend of mine from high school, crazy, and I was telling this neighbor that, and I said, but it's so nice because now the person that bought the house said, we can come over for dinner whenever we want. We can visit the house whenever we want. Yeah. Like, it's an open door policy. And I told Mom and Rob that, to the, telling the neighbor this, and they were like, why the fuck would we want to do that? And I was just like, that was just so mind-blowing to me. Like, what do you mean? Why wouldn't you want to go back at least once a week?
Because I sold it. I don't live there anymore for a reason, you know what I'm saying?
And then the neighbor goes, yeah, I don't know, like your whole family super well, but it really seems like your brother is like your mom and you're like your dad. And I said, you're right.
You are correct. Yes.
Now, can I tell you about all my previous trauma in my life while I take my gallon bag of medication?
A fanny pack before it was cool, and it never was because it was full of vital medications.
No, I distinctly remember it being a Ziploc gallon-sized bag.
But it kept it in the fanny pack, right?
No.
No?
Maybe when we were younger.
I recall a fanny pack always being present. Our dad took a lot of medications.
Yeah.
He had a concerto of medical issues going on all the time.
So many.
Many.
Yeah. Cardiomyopathy, I believe.
All of us have some opinions on the medical system for various reasons.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But yes, this, I hope mom is okay with me telling the story. But so the gal that bought it was just like, I'm gonna write a love letter to your mom
Yes.
because I'm in love with her. No, she said I'm
How
gonna
romantic.
I'm gonna write a love letter about the house, which is a thing that people do, that has worked, that I've heard from realtors, like sellers will pick
Sure.
houses for love letters. So
Because it's an
I told,
emotional decision on both sides. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Totally.
So I told mom, I said, yeah, she's gonna write you a love letter, and she was just like, cool, make sure she just includes how much money she can give me.
That would be my response as well. Yes, that's very fair.
Yes. And I was just like, oh my god, mom. I was just like, she's in this situation and blah blah blah. And she's like, cool, I'm trying to fund my retirement.
100%.
And
I am selling an asset.
yes.
Period.
And I was talking to my friend that bought it, and this is before like the purchasing happened or whatever. And I was just like, I mean, girl, shoot your shot, write that letter, but I can tell you, if my dad was in the picture and you wrote that letter, you would get this house.
Yeah, Dad was a bit of a sap.
Yep.
We both inherited that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Me more than you. You stone cold asshole.
I'm very sappy at certain things, just not same things as you, and certainly not over frequency. It's an intensity, not a frequency thing. A quality over quantity, maybe we'll say that.
I don't know.
I don't know. We did, speaking of being sappy about things, had an interesting experience with Olivia recently. We had a movie night last week. God damn it. We had a movie night last week where we watched the Lego movie. And funny aside to that, tonight we had a movie night. And I was like, what movie do you want to watch? And she says, the Lego movie, which we watched less than 7 days ago.
Oh, cool.
I was like, fucking fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But we watched the Lego movie as we had our pizza. We could do it on movie night. And afterwards, because she had never seen it before, she was like, I really, because she wanted to watch the Mario movie again. And I said, please, anything else? And we recommended the Lego movie because I had brought that up earlier. I watched the Lego movie and she said,
I think I've heard that the Lego movie is super good.
It's really good. You need to watch it without a kid around first because it is legitimately so fucking funny.
Is there only one?
There's one. There's the Lego movie, and then there's the Lego Batman movie, which is like kind of a spin-off sequel.
Yeah, right.
And then there's a bunch of just like Lego brand movies. Just like there's a lot of Barbie movies, but there's only one Barbie.
Okay, I think that's what's fucking me up. Because I don't know which one is good. I don't want to waste my time with the bad one.
Okay, so the one that stars Chris Pratt is the Lego movie.
Okay.
Chris Pratt voices the main character, which is another thing that was shocking. This is before Chris Pratt, I think, kind of
was a bad person.
Before his public stock tanked, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all got a little bit played out, but this was more like at the beginning of his like huge ascension to Prattdom. This is pre-Jurassic World.
Okay.
It's
really?
Yes, it's very funny. I think it's secretly a brilliant satire movie. I really want to watch and think about this movie a few more times. But anyways, Olivia watched it, and afterwards she said, I cried at this movie the first time. I've never cried at a movie before. And I said, really? Like, what part made you cry? And I don't remember the exact scene in the movie that she talked about, but I think it was like while a character was like having a poignant, not like a sad moment, but like a poignant moment, followed by a moment of triumph, which is the same things that make me very sappy in movies.
Yeah.
Like, I get really choked up at like triumph in films and movies. Like, that gets me. Or like standing against the odds. That's what really gets me. Like all verklempt. Like sad things. It's for me, sadness is very cheap to sell in a film. I could talk about movies and art all fucking day. I think that's a very cheap sell. It's an easy thing. Like endangering a kid or an animal in a film is very cheap. It's a way to get a very cheap emotional buy-in from the audience. A moment of like legitimate earned emotional triumph is much harder to do, and the payoff is so intense that for me, it makes me very emotional to watch it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is why I get choked up at weird movies at weird times. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like there's moments in. Have you seen Onward yet on Disney Plus?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's moments in Onward that I get choked up that aren't about the relationship with their dead dad. That obviously made me cry a whole bunch the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
But like moments when he's like coming into his own, like learning how to be a hero and like accepting like, his own skill set, like accepting himself.
Right.
That kind of stuff is what really gets me.
Have you seen that bumper sticker that says, "Please let me merge, my dad is dead"?
No.
It's so great. Kayla and I send it to each other whenever we see videos about it.
That's super fucking funny, dude.
I know.
I see a lot of things like, please, like, don't honk at me, I'll cry, and stuff like that. Yeah,
right.
I love those. Please let me drip dead is dead. Oh, man. DVC. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this is, I don't know, this might get some heat. But man, ooh, especially in the very beginning, because Dad died when I was 23. And I'm fucking in my early 20s, and I would tell people like, "Oh yeah, my dad just passed," and then some like 65-year-old would be like, "My dad passed too," and I'd be like,
yeah, no
shit, you're old.
No one's fucking immortal, dude.
God, and I'm like, don't try to say, you know, and of course, I don't know, I'm sure Mom's listening to this being like, it's empathy.
No. I think it takes empathy to realize that it's not the same situation.
Right. Oh, did your dad die when he was 92 from old age? Like, go fuck yourself and your dead dad.
Fuck your grief. Invalidated. Stamped.
Like, ew, it's not the same.
Ooh, yucky. Ooh, grief gives me the ick.
God.
I mean,
grief gripes.
Grief gripes. People are gonna, God, you know. So the thing about the thing about Dad's passing when we were so young, relatively, is that it did teach me a lot about grief. I mean, obviously, it's like an extremely first-hand experience with it. It's like the most first-hand experience with grief you're gonna get when a parent passes away.
Yeah.
Amplified by when you're younger than you expect, right? I was 27. I was about to get married. Like 3 months later, we had the wedding. That was rough.
Yeah.
And it like really got me to think about like how other people experience and process grief and how that's so different and like how that relates then to like other types of emotions and what people would consider like a universal experience and how we all you know kind of process and experience these things very differently, but like there's like a general through line of like the human experience and how that's always going to be a little bit independent of, you know, every other, you know, discrete experience of being alive. And that was very interesting to me. I forgot where I was going with that. I forgot. Completely lost the plot halfway through that fucking sentence. I apologize.
Cool.
Did I mention I had a margarita? It's empty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's like being on either you have experienced legitimate trauma or you haven't, and it just makes you a different person. And I don't know, like some people I'm like, you're giving me, you haven't had real trauma.
Now I feel like that's such a slippery slope because it's such an easy thing. It's such an easy thing to say. It's such an easy thing, especially I mean, as someone who has legitimate trauma, quote unquote legitimate trauma in their life. my dad died, medical trauma, whatever, all this other stuff in your and our lives versus someone. I mean, you could say the same thing about a 3-year-old pushing a stuffy through a hole and saying, "Ouch, that hurts." Like, is that real
Right.
trauma? Everyone's been born, idiot. Fucking invalidate your trauma, dumbass. Go poop in your pants some more. Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Check that shit out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I feel
right.
like
I
if
mean,
we start
what?
to gatekeep emotional responses to things, we're
Yeah,
going down a bad path.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's just. Yeah, I don't know. Like, oh, I've been through trauma. My dad died. Oh, I've
Mm-hmm.
been through trauma. I hit a curb.
Right.
You
So
know,
I
like,
mean, we could make the argument that like there are levels to this, there's layers to this, there's levels to this, you know, and I think that feels like the obvious like rational current argument to that sort of thing. That there's obviously like there's trauma, lowercase t, and like capital
right,
T trauma,
right.
but like the way your body responds to it is not leveled out. I think I'm not an expert,
Yeah,
obviously,
no, I
you
agree
know.
with that. I mean, I guess just like on a relatable thing,
Yeah,
like
oh, yeah, for sure.
when,
Yeah, as a way to like to relate to things. Okay, so I mean, to talk about like dad dying when we were in our 20s versus someone losing their parent when they're in their 60s.
right, right.
The pain of that loss is, I would think, the same. The the nuance to that flavor of pain, to that flavor of grief, is going to be distinct, though. Like for us, it's like all this lost time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, your dad died, but he was there to see your grandkid or to see your
For
kid.
the other 40 years that we didn't get it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But that person is still losing their parent who's been there for
Yeah.
that much more of their life. So you can make the argument that because they had all this extra time, that grief is then
True.
amplified or changed or nuanced. You know, like you're not just losing your father, you're losing your child's grandfather.
Right.
You know, you're losing this person, who's touched all these other communities. He's touched all these other lives. You know, the longer someone's alive, the more chances they have to touch other people's, to make these different ripples. And like when you were 65 and you lose your parent is like 80 something.
Right.
Those ripples stop like that. There's so many more versus when we lost our father when we were in our 20s. Obviously, that grief is very different, very raw for us, but for different reasons.
Right.
I know. So I guess what I'm trying to say is have some fucking empathy for people who lose their parents in their 60s. And let other people be sad. Let us
No.
cry at movies.
I'm more sad.
See that. What I'm
I know,
fucking
I know,
talking
I
about.
know.
It's not a
At least I
competition.
can admit it. At least I can
You
admit
can
it, and
admit
I'm
it. That's
aware
fine.
it's a problem. Okay.
Okay, I'm just saying.
So like this the trauma of it all just
Yes.
reminds me of when I went to, which I'll be completely honest, I had some pretty gnarly uh postpartum anxiety
Mm-hmm.
issues. And Minnesota, fun fact, is shut the fuck up. Have some empathy.
Okay.
Um so Minnesota is one of 2 states in the entire US of A
Mm-hmm.
that has a outpatient program for mothers suffering with postpartum mental health
PPD.
issues.
Really?
Mhm.
What's the other one?
Yeah. Depression and anxiety. I didn't ask. I don't care. I live in Minnesota.
Throwbacks. Need to
But
know.
yeah, so they have like a intensive program. I didn't do
Mm.
that. But it's like 5 days a week and you have care for your child and at the
Wow.
facility. It's really, really intense.
Yeah.
It's called Red Leaf at HCMC. It's a fantastic program. I super recommend it. But they also just have psychiatrists that specialize in postpartum mental health.
Sure.
So that's what I went there for. And they do like a whole workup and they ask about your and I'm so annoyed that they won't let you screenshot medical records, because in the report it said patient describes her childhood as quote unquote pretty dope. But then it goes on to say, but has experienced traumas because she was like, have you had trauma in your life? And I was like, no, my childhood and shit was pretty dope, and I don't know that was gonna be in the report, but but I was just like, I mean, yeah, I had like severe medical trauma at the age of 4, and my dog burned my house down, and my mom accidentally killed our dog, and
Yeah.
and my dad had a heart attack at 23.
When you were
Oh,
23.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, has
Right.
it not been pretty dope?
Is that trauma? Has it in fact not been all Gucci?
And it literally was at that moment that I'm like, that explains some things.
You know, it's all coming into focus.
Which was literally like 2 years ago.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
You know, it's never too late to self-reflect, right? It's never too late to open that book.
Yeah.
Read your own first chapter over
And I just
again.
remember that she's just like looking at me and she's like, that sounds so hard. And I was like, yeah, I guess it was, wasn't it? Huh.
That's crazy.
So, how many milligrams are we going to go on here?
How many milligrams?
One of my favorite LOL, non-LOL stories is when I was, which I may have told already, but when I was talking to a new doctor, and he's like, oh, I see that you're on Lexapro. How many milligrams are you on? And I said, I'm on 20, which is the top dose.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm on 20. I'm like, really sad.
I broke the high score on the sadness meter.
He was like, okie dokie.
Okay. Patient is, quote, pretty dope.
Yeah, right. Patient is not pretty dope.
Patient, not Gucci.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else big that's happening. I mean, I feel like those are the big things. Our kids going through, big developmental transitions.
Are you in your feels about Olivia going to first grade?
I mean, it's so far over the horizon. I'm not even there yet, man. Also, no, she's in school. The end. That's it to me.
I mean, is there really that much of a difference between kindergarten and first grade?
I would
Besides,
imagine.
I mean, really? Okay.
I mean, they don't do like a rest time. They in kindergarten they have them bring a blanket to school because they have like.
Oh, they do. Okay.
At least at their school, I don't know how it is everywhere. I thought it's gonna be different from school to school.
Fair, because I mean, like preschool is like play-based learning, like versus kindergarten that's actual like I think learning.
I think at the beginning of the year there's a lot more play.
Okay.
And they don't like take it away, but they get more focused. Like they start to narrow down their field. Okay, there's a definite, to me, noticeable shift in like curriculum and expectations as the year went on, which makes a lot of sense because they come in and like these kids, you don't know what they're ready for. Like some of these kids, like Mo, her first job teaching was as a long-term sub for kindergarten, and she was like, "I didn't teach these kids what a line is."
I remember her saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, like what it means to sit on a spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like in first grade, the expectation is your kid knows these basic things. In the school, how to read and write, how to do subtraction and addition.
Isn't kindergarten not required in Minnesota?
I think it is now. I think when we were kids, it was like an optional partial day thing.
Okay.
It might, again, Mo would probably know a lot better than me.
I was just about to say, Mo.
If only there was someone I knew in my household in my life who was a professional educator.
I think you should go wake her up.
She's definitely not asleep. It's only 9:39.
No. Is kindergarten required in Minnesota?
Put the microphone in bed.
Yes.
Babe, look up. Babe.
We're on air.
We're on air, so be cool. When was kindergarten made required for all kids in Minnesota?
So. Like 1996, get fucked.
I'll leave it alone. I'm trying to sleep. You fucking ass.
Oh,
God. No, so I remember when I was a kid anyways, and for a long time, we had the option for partial day.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know if it was it ever fully optional?
I have no idea.
I mean,
But
as
now
far
I
as
really want to know. I
as far as
really want to know
any
if partial
amount,
day is still a thing.
it's not. Now I think it's only full day, for at least for
Interesting.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay.
I think because people realized partial day is a waste of time.
Yeah, right.
These kids aren't learning much, and I am not getting a whole day to myself.
Yeah, they're just like,
as a
not
working
ready for
professional.
first grade at that level.
They super aren't. Yeah, but she made it okay with the first. I mean, obviously Olivia's Olivia, so it's a little bit different from kid to kid. But she
Right.
was extremely ready for full day school.
Fair.
Yeah, and she was extremely. This kid's gonna fucking flourish so much at the school, man. She's so smart. She's way smarter than I was at this age. It's fucking crazy.
I mean,
It's a low bar, I
I'm
know.
oh, whatever. That's the point. That's the point of having kids, is to
They always get better than you.
one up yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it for our episode?
I think so.
I think so. All right. Well, this has been the RF Fitness Podcast.
Sure, there is.
Sure has, bud. Yeah, I'm available for online coaching. Thanks for asking. To find out if it's a right for you, head to rffitness.net. That's rffitness.net. Scroll to the bottom of that green page to see what kind of coaching I offer. You should do the client application and hit join the party to jump into our community Discord server for free. I know not everyone, this is the end of these episodes, but I do want to reiterate that I have more offerings for my coaching, as well as hybrid coaching. That's in-person sessions if you live within so many miles of
maybe we should say that at the top of the episode.
You know what? Maybe I should. That's a good idea, Rachel. That's what we're on for. Our theme music is Funk AF by Everett Allman, distributed by YouTube Studios. Thanks for listening, guys. And as always, keep questing.
Solid episode about the slogan.
Thank you. I thought so too.
You're welcome.